I love Steve Jobs. You know, you can call him difficult. You can call him all sorts of things, but I loved his brain. I loved the way he looked at things. But the one thing that I loved about him most was that he refused to accept anything less than the best. And he constantly raised the bar. So mediocrity, he'd kill it. It starts by hiring the right people. You want people who are curious, growth mindset, passionate, authentic. You hire people who are, kind of like-minded. Not that we're all the same, because you want multiple perspectives. And you want people to challenge everybody on the team. We'll have to do a hot sauce. Cheers. Woo!
Hello, Martians. Welcome back to another episode of Marketing on Mars. Today, we have a guest calling from Southern California, Susan Bloomfield. She is currently leading the marketing team at Stream Realty, which my understanding is a pretty fast-growing commercial real estate firm. And doing some really, really cool things in marketing. So we're very excited to have Susan on the show. Susan, thank you for jumping on today.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you.
Yeah, excited for the hot sauce and all that. I think we sent our team sent you some of the hot sauce, right?
Yes. Cedar Ranch. Yeah, sounds good. Looks good.
Which ones? So you've tried the taco backstage. We've talked a little bit. So is your favorite one the taco, or do you have a different favorite one?
No, the umami.
Umami?
The taco's really good, but umami. Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
more like, you would think my whole family loves hot sauce, but scares me.
Yeah, but you like plants. It looks like you like plants.
I love plants.
Those are all yours?
Those are all mine. I have them all over the house too. So I'm calling you remote today.
Nice. Yeah, so we were talking about it behind the scenes. I haven't been in LA in a long time, but I am flying to LA, which is near where you live. What is life like out there now? How is the economy? How's everything? Like, what do people talk about out there nowadays?
Gosh, things are good. Like, what people talk about with Southern California or California in general is politics.
Yeah.
Especially in relation to commercial real estate, because it's hard to get things done sometimes here. But the opportunity is great because despite popular belief that people are leaving, and they are, like, people have left. I think there was some stat about more people have left than entered the state, but it's cyclical. And I think that you can't beat her weather. and people, I think I travel a lot, and the market's good in so many places for so many different reasons. Like, we have 20 offices across the US. And so there are different aspects. But in commercial real estate, it's also very cyclical, but it's healthy. It's a healthy investment. And I don't think it's going away anytime soon. So even office, which people talk about, and I think people are returning back to work. So, and I see a lot of Orange County, it's pretty vibrant. Like, people are going back to the office. People want the connection. There's a lot of opportunity here. It's still highly innovative. Like, you talked about West LA, lots of very talented people there, a lot of innovative thinking all throughout SoCal. And it feels, the one thing you'll hear people, it's like, it's expansive. Like, it feels like there's no limit to opportunity. And part of that might be a climate.
That's true. You guys are sunny, like something crazy, 340 days of the year. It's insane.
There's no hibernation period, so it's always a good day, right?
Always tanning, always outdoors tanning. Well, we got a lot of things to cover today, a lot of marketing related things. But we gotta give some shout out to you first and the company. So you've been at Stream Realty Partners for a little over 6 years now. Currently, you've been CMO for a little over 4 years. But before that, you worked at Colliers International, obviously a big real estate firm as well. where you spearheaded marketing and research. And then you were at CBRE, which is also a big real estate company. So you've always
Monolithic.
been
Yeah.
in real estate. How did
Mhm.
you get into the real estate world? And after all these years, are you still as excited
Mm.
about it as when you first started?
Yeah, really good questions. I got into it on accident. I answered an ad because I was going to college. Um and it was for a receptionist job. I knew nothing about commercial real estate. They said, you're terrible on the phones, and I was, but they took a liking to me and they said, "How about research?" And I said, "Sure, why not?"
Why not?
Why not? I learned so much. I learned so much about commercial real estate. I was out in the field. I saw how, they took parcels of land, and then you develop and you create economies and these places. And it gets a bad rap. Commercial real estate gets a bad rap, but honestly,
Mhm.
um, you've got a lot of passionate people who are trying to build things for people. At the end of the day, we house people and commerce. And so, um, I was going to be a lawyer. That was my track.
Oh, okay.
That's what I wanted to be, which is why I got my English literature degree. And
Yeah.
um, I got sucked in and I never left. And so I love it. I'm passionate about it because in so many ways it can be such a laggard with regards to marketing, and people, and because it's such a heavy sales organization, and the common battle between sales and marketing, right?
Uh,
And but the stories, basically, you have to brand all these sales professionals within the bigger brand, and you got to do it well, and you have to educate them on how to brand themselves, how to tell this great story. So I love it. I'm always excited by it because I just see all the opportunity in the world, and I love technology. And so, and always have. Um, and people resist it. Doesn't matter. I just had this conversation today. I'm like, people, there was a time when nobody believed that the internet would change things. Nobody believed that their cell phone, that they could actually conduct business
yeah.
on their cell phones. I mean, every time there's been a revolutionary change in technology, there's so much resistance, and
There's
I like
always
that.
pushback.
Right,
People
and
always pushing back.
always. So marketing, we get the brunt of it, right? Like we just do.
Yeah.
We have to push back as well. We have to educate, train, get people excited, and be champions for change because it's never going to stop changing, right? So, yeah, I love it.
Yeah, that's incredible. And so you saw a really cute post about your daughter hiding in a tiny like plastic babies in your bag. Um, how's the feeling of like so you're busy. You probably meet with a lot of clients, maybe even celebrities out there in LA. You're probably meeting a lot of celebrities. How do you balance your personal life? You're raising a little baby, but then you're also dealing with a lot of business and big business as well. How do you balance that and find time to do well in both sides of that life?
So from the get-go, you know, you work, you go to school, you're raising a family, you may or may not be married, you've got friends, you've got hobbies, I never stop learning. I'm in a postgraduate program now. Because I love like AI, and I want to really understand it more and more. So you just never stop. It's funny because like this topic comes up about balance, and I talk to my team about it. Balance I can be misleading. It's about prioritization more than anything else. Sometimes your family takes priority and you've got to spend time there. Sometimes it's your education or personal well-being. It just, you're constantly trying to reprioritize, and this is on a
Yep.
daily basis, right? I think if you realize that and you understand that, like, you set those expectations, balance is there. That's
Mm.
the balance is there. That's what you create. It's putting unrealistic expectations for, like, this perfect appropriation of time in every segment.
Exactly.
It's not possible.
People think balance is like, okay, it's perfectly 33% daughter,
Yeah.
33% kid, you know, work, and then 33%. But then you got a million other things you got a million things pulling in your direction. As when you get more successful and you meet more people, that it pulls you away from the things that matter even more. And so you always have to. It's constantly
Yep.
balancing. And a few years ago, I started to really think about balance instead of work-life balance. Is more like work-life integration, where
Uh-huh.
they're together, and I can do work things with my friends, and I can do friendly things with my work friends, and it's kind of like both
Yeah.
kind of mixed together. How like how do you see it? Like you're meeting with a lot of people on a daily
So,
and weekly basis.
yeah, I feel like if you love what you do, and sometimes I got to say this too, because not, there are people that are going to work and maybe it's not what they ultimately want to be doing, but you've got to make it like, I want to do the best I can in this role. Like when I went into research, literally I had to, there were, it was like hundreds of these brochures piled high. And they're like, the first thing you're gonna do is enter all of these into this proprietary database because there was no CoStar at the time. And CoStar is kind of like the, it's the end all be all for Siri. It's how we get and understand all the inventory across the US
Mm,
for commercial real estate. But I looked at it and I'm like, wow, this could be miserable. but or I can learn so much. And so I think anytime you go into something, you may not be, you're not so like you're happy every single day, but there's always something to learn. There's always something to be excited about. So I think as long as you bring passion, and I'm going to say this a lot, passion and purpose
yeah,
to something, it's just life. It's just a life journey. It's part of your journey. And so like the integration, like I'll talk about certain things like with my family. I don't always make it about problems or work issues because then you just exacerbate things. So I just know, like, I don't know, you just got to get people excited about the things that you're doing too. And you can be honest about like where you're at. If you're having a bad day and you have good support system to talk through things. But this goes back to like, just it's perspective. I think it's
mm,
more it's perspective
I
more
think
than
so.
anything, right?
Perspective. Yeah.
I'm not quite
Um,
out of nothing with that.
you're talking about the team, and obviously it's very important to get your team excited. Um, at Stream Realty, you guys have a very large team. Don't even know. Do you know how many people there are working there right now?
So the number of uh talented people at Stream, or I wouldn't call them all employees, some of them are sales and
Yeah.
multiple different areas,
Mm.
over 1,500 people. And we've grown
Yes.
exponentially over the last few years, and keeping up with that growth is kind of crazy. My So the national team, there's 19 of us,
Okay.
but all together, um, there are 60 people in our, marketing platform. And we've been growing intentionally, carefully, um, trying to get the right people in certain roles. Because when I came in, I was building a marketing platform. They had marketing, but it wasn't a platform. Um, it didn't have like a vision in what
Mm.
we could be. And so now we have, job architecture and career paths, and it's not perfect. We keep getting better at it, but what I really want is strategic partners in the local markets with the different functions, like different experts. So content, digital, you know, um,
Absolutely.
designs or visual strategists, whatever they may be. Um, we're building to that. But scale is like,
Oh,
that's the hardest thing right
yeah,
there.
for
So,
sure. Yeah. So it's a large company. We did a little bit of research. This might be a hot sauce question. I hope you can answer this.
now,
We did a little bit of research, and we saw that you guys are doing um like something crazy, like 600 million in revenue, 650 million or
so
something. Like, what do you can you
we
comment on
don't
that?
share revenue. We do not share revenue, so I will have to
Oh no.
do a hot sauce. But I can tell you, what I can tell you before I
What
do
can you
this
tell us?
is that is the amount that we've transacted, which is a lot. So it's like $8.9 billion in transaction activity.
Wow.
And so but we have a lot of different verticals,
Yeah.
and we are, we invest in properties. We also provide transaction advisory. So let me
Wow. So even if it's like 1% of 8.9 million, that's still like, isn't that 8.9 billion? Isn't that's still like 800 million per year?
I can't, not going to
Okay, let's
do
let's do
that.
it.
So
I tried,
cheers.
guys. I tried. I tried. Cheers.
Oh, that's so good.
It is good, isn't it? Yeah, I'm
It
gonna
really is good. I got a shot glass. Iceland.
a shot glass from Iceland.
Yeah.
I was just watching a documentary about I think is in Iceland. This place where the all the like when you drive, everything is just of salt on the
Yeah.
ground. It's just all white. You know that place? Is that in Iceland?
It's all salt. I don't know about salt. I saw a lot in Iceland. There are sheets of like glaciers. I haven't seen
Mm.
salt. But man, if you can go, because like it's almost like in certain parts you're on Mars. It's kind of crazy. The terrain, and then in other areas, so green. The the water, it's just it's crazy. And although this is like an 80s thing,
Yeah.
there's an 80s singer, Bjork, and I got to see her. I didn't see
Bureau.
her, but my daughter, not the daughter that put the babies in my purse, but their daughter that had moved to Iceland briefly, and now she's in England, and her friends, her Bjork's son was her friend. So I was
Oh.
like, but she warned me. She's like, "Do not go over there and do not ask for an autograph." And I'm like, "Okay."
Oh wow.
It was really
Yeah.
cool. So
He must
yeah,
brush shoulders with a lot of celebrities out there, and I actually do want to ask about that in a little bit, but before we do that, you mentioned a little bit about the revenue streams and the business of Stream Realty Partners. Um, Maybe you can briefly touch on upon that, and then I kind of want to talk about marketing because
yeah.
I want to
So
know all the things that you're working on.
yeah, for sure. We so the revenue, yeah, like we manage over like it's under 420. It's about like 411 million square feet we lease and manage.
Oh
Um
wow.
and that's some of our core business. But
Mm.
we also have like a tenant rep component, so they represent occupiers, like large firms, in getting the right space, because that's really important for brand, for like, and to retain talent. So these companies will ask us to go find, our talented tenant rep advisors, to go find the right space in the right location. So we have, we do a lot of that. And then we also develop and or acquired 55.6 million square feet. So that's also what we
Holy
do.
smokes.
Yeah. It's a commercial real estate's fascinating. Like, you can find opportunity, whether it's like a piece of dirt
Yeah.
or it's an office building that needs to be revitalized and completely, either tore down or reinvested in with capital improvements. There's industrial buildings that are, massive. If you think about like some of the largest companies like an Amazon, I mean,
Mm.
those are what we call big box, um, you know, over 1 million square feet, much bigger than that now. And it used to be that, like with industrial, 100,000 square feet was big, but e-commerce has changed the game there. So there's a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of facets to commercial real estate. We primarily focus on office and industrial. That's our
Yeah.
core assets.
And how are those actually, yeah, really quickly, how is that going? There was a COVID obviously left a huge change
Huge.
the landscape a little bit because it everyone had to go remote. And then
Mhm.
when COVID ended, a lot of companies still stayed remote, but now there's a push back into the office. Has has COVID and all the things that happened after COVID affected anything parts of your business that forced you to have to adjust parts of your business, or has
Yeah.
it kind of returned back to normal now?
It was actually really, I think it was a good thing for us in some ways,
Oh,
only
wow.
be not for our clients. So for our investor clients, and I think, there was a hit there. Like some buildings really went empty, and then,
Mm,
and I'm talking really office buildings. For Stream, we really adapted. So everybody went remote. That's true. You still had people that had to manage buildings, and they would go in. So and people that service those buildings would go in, lots of heroes there. And so like we but we also upped the game on how we connected and collaborated. It's um commercial real estate's very much in office for a lot of people, very one to one, don't like Zoom meetings or any of the
yeah.
other type of things. It's just
No.
they're just not used to it. Not That's not all companies, but I think it was actually really good because it fast tracked a lot of people who resisted some of that to move them
Mm.
into the digital realm, which they needed to be.
Mm,
Um, but yeah, it changed a lot of things. So like with regards to hybrid or remote work or 100% in office, it depends on the company, right? Like so we we've seen our clients really have to look at their operating models to see what works for them. But it's like anything, right? It's super cyclical. Like
mm,
it goes back and forth. But what you do realize at this point now is you've got to build in resilience. You've got to be able to make sure that you're ready for any um, you know, black swan event because it could be anything. And so, I think that was actually really good for companies to. I mean, a lot of companies got hurt, so I'm not gonna say that. Like, there were a
yeah.
lot that actually got really hurt, particularly on the retail side. A lot of
And
mom and pop, um, you know, owners of these, restaurants and things that really got demolished, and that hurts me to my core because that was their dream. And I don't know how you fix that, but
yeah.
there's still a lot of, like, repairing going on, but I think change is inevitable, and oftentimes these type of things happen to then have a reset in how we look at the world and how we do things. So,
Is there anything that you're thinking about, or when you talk to other people in the industry, is there anything big that will happen in the next 3 to 5 years that you think will be a big, like any predictions or anything?
like that kind of event,
Yeah, like AI, for example, is now coming
that's
in
that's
and
a biggie.
changing a lot of things. Robotics and
Robotics. Yep.
so many things. Drones, autonomous vehicles. As I read a report recently that Waymo, Waymo, they took they I think their market share of the car economy increased 25-30% or something crazy. And then at the same time period in the last 12 months, so last June to this June, Uber and Lyft decreased by 15% respectively. And so that could be another trend. I don't know, like what are you seeing in your circle of real estate?
Yeah, we're gonna see the same. Like, there's gonna be a more automation of current workflows, whether it's marketing, finance, HR, operations, and that could impact footprint, right? In how much space is taken up. So if you're talking about office, smart building technology will be able to provide a lot, and it's already there. But really looking now at the data, so data analytics help us really understand, you know, is this the most effective, efficient space that you can take up? How people work is going to change. Um, and I know people are really afraid of AI. And I think partly because, and I've said this so many times, I think ad nauseum, I think people want me to be quiet about AI.
Yeah.
I've been talking about AI for the last several years now. And
Yeah.
it's going to expedite things that would have happened probably anyway. I've
Um,
seen lots of changes in the economy throughout many years that I've been in CRE. But again, this one's different because the pace at which the change is happening,
yeah.
I don't think humans have ever gone through that. So how we adjust and adapt, that remains to be seen. I think.
Have you seen anything in your career since you first started in real estate? Have you seen, obviously
Anything like this?
yeah, anything like
No,
09, 2000?
yeah. So like there's certain industries that have come and gone. You know, a lot of manufacturing was here when I started in this business. That when that left and the steel industry,
Yeah,
completely went
it's
away. And
gone. Yeah.
yeah, completely. You had so much manufacturing go offshore that that killed a lot of economies in some of these markets. And you had to, and I will say, I what I did see with like our industry and the kind of crazy creativity that comes with these advisors, these brokers and sales professionals. They see things, they're talking, and they get
Mm,
the businesses back in and help them grow. So what I see is like you if you have a diversified economy in situations like that, that's you build into that, and then ultimately, but you have to have these disruptions to know where the gaps were. Again, with AI, it's like, okay, so like for example, we're looking at a lot of marketing automation, not traditional marketing automation like with email but we're talking about like whole workflows from, you know, um creating creative briefs and personas and to you know building positioning plans to the content that goes along with it and across multiple channels and different mediums.
mm,
That is typically like several people that have to do that. Now and I got to say, Stream never laid off one person in COVID. um
wow.
and so like people are important to us, talent is important to us. And so what I will say, like, I love that it's not to eliminate any roles, but to elevate the current talent I have to
I
get in
love
front
that.
of other things. So I see that as a lift. I see our ability to, instead of being so reactive, because that's our business, how cool would it be to have the time to be so proactive? Now we start to hit more innovation and get people really educated on, all of the technology that's coming our way.
Okay, before I dive deeper, I know Noe probably wants me to switch over to her favorite segment of the show, one of her favorite segments. It's called This or That, and then we're gonna come back to marketing because I do want to dive into marketing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm gonna give you five uh, this or that, and you got to choose one or the other. We'll start with one. You'll get it. It's pretty quick, pretty easy. Always arrive 5 minutes late, or always leave 5 minutes early. Which one would you choose? You had to
Oh
choose one.
shoot. Uh Leave 5 minutes early.
Okay. Um, forgetting your laptop at a big pitch, or accidentally send the wrong deck to your executives.
Forgetting your laptop because it's about the story. So, aids are good, but I
So you
would
just
not
you
want
just
to
go free
send
flow.
I would not want to send the wrong deck. That's really careless. Bad move.
Cool. Well, that just means you're really good at improvising on the spot, but maybe other people might take the second, maybe. Glitter sneeze or hiccup every time someone says brand. That's a good one. That's a good one. I like that one.
Hiccup.
Hiccup
Hiccup.
every time someone says brand. Brand.
Right.
All
Yeah.
right. Um,
Feels
be
misunderstood.
followed. Sorry.
Brand. It's so misunderstood for sure.
So miswin. Yeah, for sure. We don't hear it enough every day. Be followed by a mariachi band. Sounds like fun. Or by the one intern who never blinks.
Wait, say that again. So mariachi band
Or be followed by an intern that just never blinks, just always staring at you, like,
that's hilarious.
and just staring at you.
I love
Susan,
mariachi, so I would love to be followed by mariachi band. I think that would be fun.
wherever you go, though, even in the washroom,
You're right. You're right.
even in the washroom. But although even in the washroom, you're getting followed by the intern.
Yeah, so I would go with the mariachi band.
Always a mariachi band. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can celebrate every single moment of your life,
There you go.
whether you
There
want
you
to
go.
or not.
All right. Then I think I'm gonna take the shot of hot sauce.
I
Do you
need
want to
them.
try a little bit of the taco
Yep.
with me though? Because you said it's your favorite.
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do it.
You don't have to pour as much for this one because it really is just
So
super
hot.
delicious.
You know what I have with me is I don't drink milk, but almond milk. So I don't know if it works.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, I love almond milk. Almond milk is good.
It is good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
By the way, what's your favorite drink? Like if you
Of
had
all time.
like there were some episodes, not a lot. We had an exec from Microsoft join us very early on, like episode 25, and
Yeah.
he doesn't like hot sauce. He can't eat hot sauce at all.
Okay.
So instead we did alcohol. Um I did whiskey because I love whiskey. I also like gin, and he went with vodka because he's Russian,
Uh,
so he went with vodka.
Hero.
What's your favorite drink of choice?
I like vodka too.
Oh,
It's clean.
vodka.
Doesn't yeah, it's very
I tried.
clean. Yeah, it's my go-to. It is. I can't do tequila. I used to love it, but I can't do it.
Oh,
Mm-mm.
yeah.
Nope.
I had a messy tequila weekend last weekend.
Mhm.
Had some friends in town, but
Ah.
yeah. Okay, moving on to marketing. So, what kind of things are you guys doing in marketing right now? I'll leave it pretty open ended.
We gosh, a lot. So we leverage a company that I really love called Realty Ads. So paid sponsorship, but their AI component has such great targeting skills. So we leverage that to tell our story. I'd say that we do. I think our content strategy is what really nails it for us. Um, we so I call it the 6 Ps. Two of them which are redundant, but we everything that we do, everything that we say has to be around our people, our passion, and our purpose to promote our people, our properties, and our platform.
Oh
So
wow! So there's a 7 Ps you said, or
it's six
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 Ps?
Ps. But if you do that across whatever you're doing, so I'd say like when we pitch our articulation of value, we reverse engineer that. Like we're constantly evolving our what is our value, and really getting to the why, the cynic why, but you know what I mean. It's what's your why is important all the time. You should always be asking that for stream. What's our why for this client? Like why us? And constantly challenging that. So we leverage all the channels. Right now we're going to be doing a we're being very intentional around LinkedIn through. So we have this, and people post, right? So like, but we're trying to get we have a pilot program going. We're trying to get our salespeople to really be intentional with targeting within LinkedIn and posting and and really telling a good story. And see, it's really hot. And
It's starting. It's starting.
hot starting. um, but I would say it's using our tech stack to really be very targeted, having great content around the things that matter to show value. Like what value do we bring to our client? Putting our client first and staying very people centric is
Hmm.
very important for us in all the things that we're doing in marketing.
Interesting that you mentioned LinkedIn, because I always thought LinkedIn wasn't the best channel for real estate professionals.
Yeah.
I correct me if I'm wrong. Historically, it was Instagram that was probably the best, but I'm not sure anymore. For you, what are the top channels for you? What and maybe there are different reasons
Yeah.
for you to use different
Yes.
platforms. So maybe I'll let you talk about that.
Yeah. So no, LinkedIn's massively important. We
Really?
transact. You
Okay.
can transact on LinkedIn, meaning
Interesting.
opportunities can arise if you're smart about it.
Okay.
One thing I found out, and I was an early adopter of LinkedIn. Like I was, in the like there were 200 people on LinkedIn, and I was in that mix.
2009?
Huh?
2009, 2010?
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah.
2008, 2009.
Okay, cool.
And so you can see where it was going to go. It's kind of fun, and I you could see that it was very much for business. And I saw all the potential in the world for CRE. So you have some people who do it really, really well. I think people in general just don't know how to use social media in a very intentional way and really
Mhm.
be careful with their brand, right? So,
Mhm.
but for our services, LinkedIn all day long. And I don't know if you know this, LinkedIn, the large majority of users are between the ages of 25 and 40.
Yeah.
And so you can imagine the shift in decision making. And they'll tell you, we don't just vet here. We're looking to create relationships here. And that vetting process is deepened, right?
Yeah.
So that's why, the targeting LinkedIn Sales Navigator, I'm plugging LinkedIn because it's pretty amazing. So, you're welcome, Microsoft.
Yeah.
But it's so good because you can really, you can, take those cold prospects that 1-to-1, it still feels like 1-to-1, but you're hitting 1-to-many within that
So,
space.
um, in terms of your spend let's talk about LinkedIn as a platform because that's very interesting for me. Um, we had a couple of guests that are in the real estate world as well, including National Land Realty. I don't know if you
Mhm.
know them. I think they're
Do not.
more it's like
Yeah.
in the Midwest kind of.
Okay.
Um, they're like a couple $1 billion as well, but
Yep.
in revenue. They use LinkedIn as well, and they might be interested to hear this. In terms of your LinkedIn spend, how much of it goes towards like producing content versus ads, paid ads? Because paid ads, if you do it well, can be very, very powerful
Yeah.
versus any other things. I don't know what else you might spend on LinkedIn.
So I'm really proud of our ability to generate content. We do a lot of that in-house. We do not go third party on that
Okay.
because we lose our voice. Like some thought leadership,
Yeah.
we have a couple of key people that we really value and they'll do some, but we do a lot of it ourselves. Like that's my team. We pull that. We'll work with different experts in the field. So we'll ghostwrite, do the interview style. So we take a lot of control over that. So from a content standpoint, we spend very little outside of the marketing spend for our team. But getting it out there, the amplification of that through the targeting, you know, um, that's where we'll spend the money because we want to get those great stories out to the right people. So, and the other thing too is the like with our whole LinkedIn strategy, it's to promote our people. So but we want them to do it. So they're doing it. So they connect to their targets, their prospects, their clients, but we're
Oh,
showing them how, and we're trying to help develop all these individual brands, um, to make sure they stand out. They're differentiated. So
yeah.
that's,
I mean,
we're, yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
looking at some of your content. It's some of your content are, yeah, they're getting great engagement. Yeah, between 60 to sometimes 200 engagements per post. That means your team is very, very engaged because you have something like 1,500, 1,800 employees.
Yep.
So that's about 5 to 10% engagement with your team, which is great. A lot of teams, a lot of teams fall short with that, and they might be at like a couple of percent. If
Right.
you look at Amazon, uh, they're at like 3 to 5% engagement. So even though it looks like they have a lot of engagement, 400 engagement per post, they have 40,000 people working there, right? So
Right.
as a
Yeah.
percentage, it's your percentages look really good. How do you encourage your team to engage and support this big machine called
Yeah.
Realty, where like if we support each other, we'll all win uh,
Yes.
together? How do you do that?
That's a great question. I, I think it starts by hiring the right people first. You want people who are curious, growth mindset, passionate, authentic, um, and are it's not selfless because they want to make an impact individual, but there are certain people that are just like, if we have fun, we do this, we're gonna get on this journey. And this is like my sell to them, like, you know, this is going to be a fun ride. I don't, let's do it. Let's see what we can do. We're going to have failures along the way, but so what? So let's do this and see if we can leave that, like Jobs said, dent in the universe. Let's do that because we've got, you got one life to live. Let's do that. You hire people who are, kind of like-minded. Not that we're all the same, because you want multiple perspectives and you want people to challenge everybody on the team. Like, I don't think that's the right way to go. Like, I encourage that. I like to be challenged as a leader. I may not like at the moment, I'm like, I thought it was a great idea. They're like, no, we don't think so. But with that said, if you've got a team that can challenge you, that's strong, because together, then we're going to really be able to sharpen our skill set. But you have to have a vision. You have to say, look, here's where we would like to go, where we are going to go, come hell or high water. This is what we want to achieve. Now, how we get there, you guys play a big role in that. Let's start, mapping out that path. But that's and once we get there will be many more. It's just a bunch of different milestones.
Yeah.
And I think with Stream, like Chris Jackson, by the way, shout out to Chris and all the partners at Stream, Mike and Lee, Mike McVean and Lee Belland are they were the co-founders. And then Chris Jackson is the CEO. And we have Blake Kendrick, the COO. We've got some really good people in the mix, but Chris Jackson is a leader. He leads by example. So basically what he does is he identifies talent. He's really good at it. And so were Mike and Lee. Like, they can spot talent. And then they say, listen, generally this is what we would like to be, right? This is the 3 to 5 year plan. But this is yours to own, So we want to empower you to go do one. You have to do right by the company and right by your people, but go do it. And I'm going to get out of your way. Just go do it. And that's rare in companies. I've worked at the big corporations, and it's hard because you have to constantly fit within these boxes, and you're basically just maneuvering. You spend so much time politicking to get something done. It doesn't get done in this kind of speed that this world needs today. The one thing that I'd say that Stream does, and the way that the leadership team has really built it, is to stay as flat as possible, because that agility is critical for our clients. We have to mirror what's expected of them in this economy, in this global marketplace. And we can't do it if you constantly put obstruction in front of your talented people, right? Just, it won't
Absolutely.
happen. They leave.
Man, that was incredible. I'd love to be there one day when you give this speech to your team and just like feel that fire. It's so important having a good leader that trusts you and give you the power when sometimes, let's be honest, that person on the other side doesn't deserve that, because maybe they're too early on, maybe they're making a lot of mistakes, but when you trust and you just believe, you will get some people really prove you wrong and they will shine. But you kind of have to you kind of have to take off the life vest and let the person swim to show you how good they are at swimming. But if the life vest is on all the time, it's tough. And it's a very hard balance. It's a very, very tough leadership trait. And I find some of the best leaders in the world have that. And appreciate you sharing that. Okay, we had a question that the team wanted to ask you. And I'm pretty sure you're not going to be able to answer this, but I'm going to do it anyways, because, that's the show. They're curious how much you guys are spending per month on your marketing budget.
Again, so I won't share that. I can't share that. But I will say, and I'll take my shot. But basically, we have a solid budget that I manage with, my great team members. Caroline Lancaster is my senior director of operations. So good at managing our budget. And shout out to my team. They're amazing people. But like they really are. There's you talk about people that you've
Yeah.
seen just kind of grow and grow and grow. It's like, wow. I'm
Yeah.
always in awe. But we have always had a solid budget. So Stream has been in growth mode since I got here. And so there weren't all these set budgets at play, but we had one. And so we had a plan and we had a budget, and I tried to scale it according to the growth that I think the company could bear at the time, given the other investments in order to build a strong platform. So healthy budget that we manage down to the penny to the best of our ability. I don't sacrifice, I won't sacrifice people, but sometimes we have to prioritize like certain spend on, like what's necessary, like with advertising or what have you, SEO, like that's a big topic today.
Yeah, huge.
And
SEO and now GEO, generative
yes.
engine
Right.
optimization. So you want to optimize because like how many times a day do we use Google versus ChatGPT? Oh, the team is telling us we got to do a hot sauce shot. So let's
Yeah, do it.
okay. So we're going to go with the one that we were nervous about, but we talked about it backstage. Like it wasn't not that
Yeah,
bad.
Smoky
So
Ghost.
yeah, let's go with the smoky ghost.
Try it.
Let's smoke this ghost.
We only live once.
We YOLO. All right.
That's right.
By the way, if you're in West LA, I'm there Thursday to Sunday, golf on Thursday, a jazz show on Friday, and then pickleball on Saturday. So if you want to,
oh, nice. Okay.
private equity VC guys,
Love
all
that.
right.
It's exciting. Cheers.
Cheers.
Here we go. Oh,
It's more bitter than anything.
there's a bite right there.
Yeah, it goes right to the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Woo. I need that mariachi band behind you right now.
I just so funny. I can see them. Oh,
I don't even know
man.
how they dance. How do they even dance? I don't even know how they dance it. Do they just shake the thing? I don't know what they do.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
hotter than like when I first tasted. That's much hotter. There's a bite. That's
yeah,
good though. These
it's
are
good.
really good. Hey, shout out to Seed Ranch. Wow.
Shout out to Seed Ranch. My favorite is the taco. Like I think your favorite is the
100%.
taco.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. I'm gonna recommend this to my friends though, because it's that good. Yeah, I'm always looking for.
Yeah, where are they? I think that someone's telling me someone's gonna Boulder, Colorado. There they are.
See, that figures. Yeah, okay. I was gonna say, is it here?
Yeah, is it here? Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
Bring them out. Okay. I think we talked about this one part about you guys using a lot of AI now for marketing. We brushed on that a little bit already. But what I'm really interested about is because you guys are largely sales focused, as most real estate companies are. What are you guys using for sales when it comes to AI? And like, how are you foreseeing sales will affect everything?
Well, I just mentioned one of them. So I think like AI, I'm excited for the agents, the agentic AI to start really making its way into play, but an enterprise level AR, like right now, like we're in Microsoft environment, so we have Copilot, but I would say a lot of our salespeople, obviously, they're using the generative AI tools, Gemini and Chat and all the others, and so I'd say they use it they're testing it out, they're learning their prompt game, and we're trying to help drive some of that. But a lot of the AI tools right now are embedded in the technology, in the sales enablement tools that they're currently using. And what I really love, like we're using this pilot program that we're calling Race to a Million, by the way. So,
wait, so you guys are building out your own internal tool?
no, not yet.
Okay.
No, but
that would be a big project.
Yeah, I mean, we're, Race to a Million, or R2M is our digital amplification strategy. So connection and all of that really primarily through LinkedIn. And so, but if you looked at LinkedIn Sales Navigator, showing them, and or there's so many tools that we're trying to show, like, you've got a lot of AI built into these tools. Start there, leverage that, because like with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, all the signals, and we're, trying to teach them about signals, is that's, they're alerting you to take action with your clients, with your prospects, with your peers at any given time. You got to pay attention. This is one of this is the beauty of that stuff. And then it will help you. It's already, it's looking at the company. It's telling you all sorts of things. It's giving you the information, background before you even send an in-mail, right? This is power. But if you don't use it, like if it's not part of your daily
then there's no
work,
power because you got no data, nothing to work off of. Yeah.
Exactly. So we're looking at things like that. We have something called Navigator CRE. That's our market intel tool. That's where we house a lot of transactional data. Like, so when, for comps, whether we do the deal or it happens in the market, they also had created a partnership with OpenAI. So they have Navi GPT. And so that will be great. But for analysts, like if you, with all this market data and transactional data, you can, we're going to teach it with certain prompts that, you can do certain analysis really quickly. That would take possibly days prior. So it's things like that. Another one, shout out, Ren Systems. I love this tool. We're just exploring it. It's like, it's not, but it is. Like how I explain it is like Google Alerts on steroids, but it's not. It pulls from like 400,000 news sources. It takes contacts in your Outlook, and you can download your contacts from LinkedIn, and it will then pull and give you all the signals about any activity going on there, whether there's acquisitions, consolidations, people moves, promotions. Yeah. I mean, all these are the things that tell you, I got to then reach out. I've got to, here's a way to have a warm conversation.
It's because sales is all about the follow-ups.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whether even like forever, it's a constant loop, right?
Yeah.
You get an assignment, even if you are currently working with them, you have to stay with them, make them priority.
So hold on. If you do this, technically, if you really integrate it well, all of this follow-ups can be done. For example, Susan can be sending messages to Noe, Simon, Nancy, or whatever, every single day for a whole year, but it's done by a robot. If that continues, would that lose a little bit of the authenticity, you think? And would be a negative impact?
I mean,
what do you think?
That's not what we're like. It can help, like what I see. And so I've been using, well, ever since it started, like, I use all of them. My go-to is Chat GPT. We call him Chad, like everybody else. I didn't know everybody called him Chad. I thought that was just us. So we're not that clever. But like,
I think it's clever. I've never heard Chad, but
Chad. I'm like, Chad, my guy. So, it knows me. It knows my voice. I understand it's a people pleaser. So, it say, what am I great at? Oh, you're so great. It's like, no. But it starts to understand my voice. And so you need to stay on top of it. It's not there yet where it's developing content for you, and it's understanding the situations, and it will more and more, but it's still you. And it should be. If people are just blindly leveraging that and then sending it out, I mean, God help them, because weird stuff.
Can I tell you something that my friend has been building? And you let me know if this is like, whether this is relevant to what you guys are doing.
Wow.
But I found it very fascinating because I do a lot of networking. I meet a lot of people. Yeah. I speak at events. I host a lot of events. And I meet people, I can't remember what people are doing sometimes. Yeah. So my follow-up game is weak. And sometimes when you do too much networking, there's like a point where you're doing too much networking, you can't you're like static, you're frozen because you have too much data points to figure out. So he built this tool that kind of keeps track of all of your kind of records you at all of your business networking events. So knows everything that you say, remembers everything that all of your clients and leads say. so that you can always come back and chat GPT and query it. So
Yeah.
like, you can kind of you can train yourself to be a better salesperson. Like, how many times, like, what can I do? Like, these are my last 25 sales meetings. How can I be a better salesperson? So that's like personal growth. But then what he said, which was really cool, fascinating, is like, now you can always remember details about your potential leads. How many people did I speak to in the last month that speaks golf? I want to plan a golf day. Oh,
Yeah.
here are 25 people that you talked about golf with. Or I want to host a poker night next week. So
Yeah.
here are 25 people in LA that you met that plays poker, or in Claremont where you're from, like here are 30 people that plays poker there. Do you think that will be the future of sales?
Oh heck yeah. Yes, because
Okay.
it's we are B2B to C, 100%. But it's really that P2P game, person to person. But it means like, like the old traditional personas that we would build, that's still so macro, right? But
Hmm.
gosh, can you imagine? Like so I want to I'm still looking for my AI glasses that there's several on the market, but
Oh, there's a new one from
we
Snapchat. Apparently
okay,
that's
okay, I'm gonna look
crazy.
at it. Is it?
Apparently it's
Because
crazy. That's what I heard.
when I'm talking to people, like I'm more big picture. Sometimes hard for me to recall the details, right? But when I'm having a meeting, and so if Chris sees this, I'm sorry, Chris, and I really want to give him this, I can recall specific data points for my conversation or for a presentation. But can you imagine having that
Yeah.
kind of access to like with what your friend's doing and it's feeding it and all sorts of things about them, like their children's names or where they
Yeah.
went to college or, what they're passionate about, all the things that create the connection, it's
Uh-huh.
hard to do that. But yeah, if there's a tool, like and it would work in CRE too, like those
Totally.
specifics matter. Like I having a conversation because it's not innate for everybody. It's not some people are less inclined to care about those details. And when you have when you bring up something that matters to somebody, man, does it create an
Oh,
instant trust
and
factor.
then some people are bad with names,
I
right?
know.
I'm horrible with names. I remember faces, but I'm bad with names. But imagine if, oh my God, imagine if the Snapchat glasses or the whatever glasses, you're recording all your conversations and you remember all your conversations, and you just look at the person and be like, that's Susan Bloomfield.
Yep, and it
Jesus.
brings it all down,
And all
and
the
all the
conversations,
stuff.
all your conversations. Oh, last time you guys talked about
Yep,
the mariachi band, make that
right.
joke, or like, like, or whatever, like hot sauce, like
Yeah,
offer some hot sauce as a joke, because you
I
haven't seen
think
her.
yes, I think that would be so great and very prescriptive too, right? Like it's picking up the conversation. Hey, you're gonna probably want to bring up these points, and reminder to bring this back up to the conversation. This was something that you wanted to get accomplished. Like that could be so cool. I love that. Yeah,
Insane, insane. Okay,
yeah.
we have one last thing, another one of Noe's favorite, and then we'll wrap up with some closing things. Okay, just another quick rapid fire one.
Yep.
Um, just gonna ask you 5 questions, and you just kind of answer as quick as you can. All right, what's your go-to hype song before a big meeting?
Oh my gosh. Hold on. I'm
Hype
sorry. I don't know
song,
why. This is not
hype
rapid
song.
fire. Why is this now? See, this is one of those things about getting the like my details. Um, oh, hold on.
Oh no!
Yeah,
Oh
it's so
no!
bad right now. Why? Okay, I'm just gonna say 30 Seconds to Mars, that kill song. Whatever.
30 Second to Mars. Okay, I
Yeah,
think No
but
Way
that's
probably knows it. No Way knows every single song in
yeah,
in existence.
but the first one, the rap song, I cannot think of it.
It's a rap song.
Yeah, it
Drake?
is
Is it
just
Drake?
so
Oh, who's the artist?
he's dead.
So
They
it's
call
not
me Big
Drake, because
Purple Guy.
Drake is alive. Oh,
What's wrong with me?
put your hands in the air, use a true player. That one.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Notorious B.I.G.
yes.
Um,
It's not that
I think
song.
is it Big Papa? I don't know.
No, but
Someone would
that is
probably.
one of his songs. But no, Notorious B.I.G. I don't know what's wrong with me. I can't think of my hot song, but that is my hot song. I will have
Oh my
to.
God.
Yeah.
That must have been crazy in LA back then in the days, right? Like
Yeah.
that must have been everywhere. But okay, continuing on. Most used emoji in your work text, not your personal text.
It's the LOL. It's the
What
like the
the
laugh.
crying eyes?
Sometimes,
Yeah.
depend, and it's so funny because I think it is true. It might be passive aggressive because you want to like soften something. So you
Yeah.
like sometimes it's
And
real. It's very funny. So I do
he's
that.
like, this is the worst report I've ever seen. Fix it, please.
Laughing about it.
Crying. All right, one food combo that slaps. Apparently, that's the word that we chose to use, but nobody believes you.
Then nobody believes me.
It was like the
Okay.
best food combo.
Um, like, mm, this. I think it's like this. It's this certain kind of cheese.
This hot sauce getting you.
Yeah, yeah. It's a certain kind of cheese and mango. It's like I think
Cheese.
it might just be sharp cheddar and mango that I put together, and people are like, "Ew," but I
Okay.
like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is ew for me because I'm lactose intolerant,
Oh,
but
for sure.
but I'm sure for some.
Yeah.
One thing that immediately makes you cringe when you see it or hear it.
So many things, but immediately, huh? Okay. Um, I don't. This is gonna sound funny. I don't like white high heels. Did we say something?
Oh, oh, yeah, white high heels. Okay,
Mm, no,
you just heard half the females that are listening.
I really dislike them.
Yeah.
I can't handle it.
I think a lot of our listeners are female,
Sorry,
more
it's not
than men.
all of
So
them,
I
but
think
with
you've heard more than 50% of our listeners, but it's, it's all right. Okay, finally, you worked with a lot of different partners,
Mhm.
executives and partners and investors and all that. Who's the most difficult person that you've ever worked with now until now at Stream?
Oh my gosh. I wouldn't have to name this person, right?
We can
I can do a hot sauce.
you can do a hot sauce, but you can do less of a hot sauce if you tell us why you didn't like this person.
Why?
And so a little
Uh,
bit of details, like a specific incident.
the most difficult doesn't mean that I don't like them, just the most
Yeah,
difficult.
sure, sure.
Uh,
Although
detail.
it's probably your if I'm guessing.
No, no,
We're listening.
no. It isn't. I always joke with marketing and IT. It's so funny because one is like,
yeah,
is looking at risk. Marketing is not looking at any risk.
not
You need
yeah,
them both, but it's like,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
just the viewpoints. No, no, that's not it. This is not, this is, this isn't even at this company. It's a past, it was at Collier's.
Oh,
And
okay.
there was a particular market leader that was just, it was all about him. And he could not make it about anything else, like the company or,
Mm,
doing something for like, it was such a battle. And unless we made it like he could be front and center, whether it was a
uh,
speaking thing or whether it was like or an idea like a campaign, it needed to be his. And so I'll leave it at that, but it was so rough. And he's a nice person, it's just that's how he approached it. And I would say that was my most challenging thing because we needed to get stuff done, and unless you appease that, it wouldn't get
right.
done.
His name was probably Kevin.
No, it wasn't.
All right.
Okay, so do hot sauce.
Yeah,
Okay.
this will be the final one, and then I think we're a little over time. I'm getting the cue to wrap up. Mm,
Oh, yes.
all
No, we're
right.
good. We're good.
So delicious. It's such a
Mm-hmm.
waste that we're taking shots of this, but
Yeah, I
all
just
right.
did tomato jam. So good.
This last segment, we're just gonna wrap up here. It's been great chatting with you, and we definitely should chat again. Maybe
Yeah.
not. We don't have to record in our next hangout. We can hang out virtually or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
We'd like to leave a passing question to the next guest. But first, the previous guest, Ryan from Stack
Oh,
Adapt,
okay.
asked you, who inspires you and why?
We mentioned him before. People know this about me a lot because I use it a lot. I love Steve Jobs. You know, you can call him difficult, you can call him all sorts of things, but I loved his brain. I loved the way he looked at things. But the one thing that I loved about him most was that he refused to accept anything less than the best. And he constantly raised the bar. So mediocrity, he'd kill it. He'd be like,
Hated
we're
it.
not
Yeah.
doing this, right? And I love that. He did so many things that I just really admire, and he refused to compromise because he knew he was visionary and not everybody can see. So, and the other thing he said too is like, I can't ask people what they want, like with the iPhone. I can't ask because they don't know. I'm going to give them something that
You gotta
they're
show
going to
them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love that. So yeah, it's Steve Jobs.
Wow.
For sure.
Incredible. Yeah. Incredible human. And also from California, right? That's where it
Yep.
started. So yeah, it's good for the States. All right. And any question you'd like to ask for the next CMO?
Yeah. You know, this is what keeps coming up. And I've heard many answers, but I always like to hear somebody else talk about this is, marketing is sometimes always needs to be quantified for the value. And it never ends. It's like, that's just what you constantly have to do in marketing. I would like to hear from somebody else is like, how do you like, how do they deal with that constant challenge of why do we need you? How are you like, what's your value today, especially with all the innovations and technologies? Like, how do you constantly fight that battle?
That's a great question. And we're seeing with all the AI automations and everything, we're seeing such fast turnover of CMOs.
Yep.
You're in a very special boat. Obviously, you drive a lot of value, not just through marketing, but through leadership and there's a lot that a CMO has to do. But we're seeing the fastest turnover. I read some report that like the average tenure for CMO now is 2 times shorter than what it was before COVID.
That makes sense.
That's just like, call it COVID, call it increase in interest rates. So money is tight. It's hard to get money. Call it the economy kind of going down, but it's always it's marketing and HR gets usually the grunt of the complaints, and it's unfortunate. But yeah, it's a great question. I would love to hear what the next person answers as well. Anyway, Susan, it's been great chatting with you. We'll definitely have to do it again. Any lasting words you want to say before we jump out?
No, thank you. This has been great conversation. And now I'm just thinking about mariachi bands. So I appreciate that.
And my mouth is still on fire. I don't know how you're feeling after all these hot sauces, but
sweaty.
Yeah, it's sweaty. All right. Okay, Susan, we'll have to get you back on. Thank you so much. We'll catch you.
Thank you.
Next time.
Bye.